So no, the first part of this is supposed to be talking about really just us, giving everybody an idea of who we are, what we come from, what our values are, what some of our fondest memories are, what me and you knew growing up that maybe even your closest friends didn't know. That me and you both have had as memories and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just kind of reminiscing on that. There's the pictures of me and you like at the campground.
Oh yeah. Because I mean, there is a lot there that me and you only know about each other that we did. Like golly bum, man. I told Tanner the other day about that time Dad let us borrow 2 machetes and we lost them in the woods, man. Dude. Yeah. We knew both, man. One of them, Pawpaw gave Dad, and Dad had his and Pawpaw's, and he gave you one and me one.
Yeah.
And we went out there like we always did to go build a fort, and we lost both of them.
Then one of them had like black tape on it.
Yeah, one of them
so
had
we kind of screwed ourselves at the onset.
Yeah, it was electrical tape on the handle of one of them, man.
Yeah.
Dude, we lost both of those in the woods, man. Like as we was gonna go and make a fort or something, we're just cutting down trees, dude. Yeah. Like, man, oh my gosh, that's crazy, man. Like, what business we had in the woods cutting down trees, at that age, unsupervised with 2 daggum
freaking
machetes, yeah. Whose good idea was that? I don't have a clue, but we did.
I don't know. I think it was a good idea for us. We needed that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, heck, we never made any baseball stars out of us, but we could swing a daggum. We could swing anything we wanted to.
Down.
We could take them trees down.
We was taking some twigs down, if you know what I mean.
Golly bum, man, that's some good memories in the woods though, up there at that cabin. Golly bum. You remember that time? There was a vine that we kept on swinging from one side of the creek to the other, and the creek was dried up anyway. But there was a vine that was perfectly on a tree, and we would swing from one side of the creek to the other, man. And the creek was deep too. And if you ever fell, which it broke with me that one time.
It broke
with me that one time. Golly bum, man.
We're like in the end of an era.
That was it. That was it for that, man. We couldn't find another limb or a vine that was coming down perfectly like that, because we would pull it and we would take a run and go and swing all the way across the daggone creek like that, man. God, man.
I tell you what, though, we can't talk about the cabin days without talking about Bella.
Oh man, or Buck.
See, now you can't forget about Buck either. Which tell us the story of how when Buck and Bella come up, I think it was Buck first, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it was Buck first. There was
Did he come up from the church pit?
I don't remember exactly where he come from, but there was multiple dogs that ran up just through the woods, and they just come up to us, and every one of them was friendly. I mean, there was that white dog that come up, and it had some kind of sheep dog. I don't remember what. I mean, it was a white dog. You remember that dog?
I can't think of
that dog.
Well, was it real shaggy or no?
Yeah. It was like a Great Pyrenees.
Oh gosh.
You remember it now?
Barely. Yeah.
There was that dog too, but we never named it. We didn't really like it that much, but it just always hung around. But there was that dog and Buck. Buck, man. Oh man, I don't know. I guess he come up from Hood's Cross over there, Bickerstaff Holler. Bickerstaff Holler. That was a real deal, man. That was the real deal. And you know what's crazy is thinking about the woods. We was up at that cabin, and it was kind of far away from Biggerstaff Holler as far as the road goes. But
Right.
if you were to got on the maps or something where the cabin was,
You just went
and
down the
zoomed
hill.
out, and zoomed out, you just went right down the hill. And that was Biggerstaff Holler. We didn't really realize how close we was to there.
Yeah.
Looking as a kid, but we was close to Hood's Cross over there in Biggerstaff Holler. Sure enough.
Now, do the listeners know why Biggerstaff Holler was even?
No, I don't. Well, some of them would. Some of
yeah.
them would. Yeah,
You
depends
had to
on
watch
who's
out.
listening. Yeah, yeah. Shoot you out, man.
Yeah, you had to be careful out there. Some people live in the city, live in the hood. Then we had Biggerstaff Holler.
Oh, yeah.
We had Hood's
Yeah.
Crossroads.
Yeah.
We had,
I mean, if you know, you know. I don't even know if we'd even need to bring up why it was bigger called that. But I don't even know if we need to bring up why it was called that. But it might be something we can bring up later. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. If you know, you know. But yeah, Buck, man, he God, that was a let's see, it was a blue heeler,
Mm-hmm.
but it had a little hound dog in it too. It was the purest mutt that you could have ever wanted. If that's even a breed. Mutt's not a breed,
Right.
but I'd call that a pure mutt. You know what I'm saying?
He was a split 50-50.
Golly bum, that was a good dog. Now shoot,
They got the best of everything.
God, man, it was pretty, man. Oh man, it looked like a black and tan with blue on it.
I remember he used to follow you.
Oh,
Everywhere.
it went with us everywhere we went. Sure enough, it went with us everywhere we went. And Bella,
Talk
the
about when she
same
come
way.
up.
The same way.
I remember hearing a story about her coming up.
Yeah, let's see. I'm trying to think.
Did she come up to Danya? Was that what it was?
It might have been. She come up to Danya. God, she come up through the woods, just like Buck did. And
she was beat though. What she?
She really was skittish. Yeah, she was real skittish. Yeah, and then gosh, she had tits that drug the ground. Man, she had a litter of puppies somewhere in the woods that nobody knew about. But you could obviously tell because the tits on her was fresh, and they was dragging the ground. So there was pups somewhere, and we got to close with her, and she trusted us enough. Eventually, she moved them pups underneath the porch of that cabin. Eventually, and she brought them pups to us, and she moved every single one of them, picked them up one by one, and brought them to the cabin. Yeah, I guess she got to where she just liked us enough where she thought it was safe there. I guess and she brought all them pups to us. But yeah, she come up the same way Buck did. They just randomly showed up. Which Buck, he was a male, and I mean, shoot, he followed us around just like we'd known him our whole life, really, And God, that was a good dog, man.
Then there was Homer come around.
Oh,
Boy,
Homer, God, you talking about a old dog, man?
Yeah.
Golly bum, that was a long time ago. Now we was young.
We was little. He was tackling us.
Homer
playing football in the backyard is what he was doing.
God,
that dog.
I don't even have enough memory of Homer to even really get to talking about him. Other than
That's
this
all
one
I
time,
really remember.
This one time, which my grandmother's got a picture of me and Homer sitting beside each other.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and but I was young, man, and man, the only memory I really have of Homer, and see, that was Pawpaw's dog,
Right.
but Dad had him all the time.
Oh.
Yeah, just carried him with him.
Was that back in the trailer days? That's when your dad...
No. Well, I mean, could have been, because Homer was around for a while, but the memories I have of him was whenever me and Dad and Mom lived down the road from my grandmother's house.
Yeah.
And which was also right down the road from you at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Homer. But the fondest memories I have of him. So I had this orange. I don't even know how I even come about it, but somehow I come about this orange kitten. And I had this orange kitten, and for a solid 3 days, I just loved on that thing, and just, it was just carried it around. I'm just, everywhere I went, I wanted to carry that little kitten with me. Well, I tried to keep it in the garage, and Dad, which, if he listens to this, I don't know if he'll ever admit it or not, but I know it happened. I told Dad, I was like, man, let's keep it in the garage. And my mom might have even told him too. I was like, Dad, keep it in the garage. He would not have it. Would not have it because he didn't want it to crap all in the garage and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he just wouldn't have it. Made it. He was like, oh, it'll be fine, just right outside the garage, and nothing's gonna happen to it. Well, overnight, he made them stay on the outside of the garage. And that next morning, I got up and went outside to feed my kitten or play with my kitten or whatever I was gonna do, and that gum Homer tore it up now, deader than the doornail. I'm talking about just a daggone worst you ever seen. Dead kitten. R.I.P.
He was eating oranges.
R.I.P. You knew it was the kitten.
God.
You still seen that old orange all over. It was an orange cat, but man, you didn't want to look at it too long.
But Homer would never mess with nobody. He wouldn't. He never would mess with nobody.
No,
but what's crazy?
Really.
I tell you what I remember.
He killed that cat though.
Oh yeah,
he killed that cat. That next morning, I walked out. That cat was gone.
See, Homer was like that because I tell you, I remember Papa always said that he would go out in the woods and be gone for a while, and he'd drag up stuff and all that. But I remember him being the dog of 9 lives, not a cat of 9 lives, but the dog of 9 lives, because they said if they couldn't even count on their fingers how many times he got run over.
Yeah.
And so he so many times that later in life he pretty much had like a limp.
Yeah.
You remember?
Oh, I promise.
Yeah, I think they had him in a daggum cast for
they're
like 6 months.
Well, that's what I was about to bring up, man. I remember I don't know who did it, but somebody doctored him up, and he had electrical tape around his leg for a long time until he got over that. Man, I'll tell you what, them blue heelers, man, they're tough dogs. That was a blue heeler, too. That was a tough dog now. That was a tough dog. Smart, too. Them blue heelers are smart dogs. Sure enough. If you can train them right.
If you can train them right.
That's the thing. You gotta train them.
I bet you gotta train them young.
You gotta have a lot of time invested in a blue heeler to make it worth a dog, So, yeah, there's that. But daggum, well, let's get back on over there at the cabin days, man. What's
cabin days?
Yeah, what's your fondest memory of Bella?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Where it started to get interesting for me with Bella was, of course, when she was younger, I remember her used to coming up, but I'll never forget when I come up. As she, like years and years later, I come up and she was freaking looked like a grandma. Like that to me I had never felt so old looking at a dog, seeing them get old. I was not expecting that, but I remember seeing her gray hair, and that was just not how I remember Bella.
Yeah.
I remember Bella as like a spry little mom dog going on, but like she wasn't a big old bloated thing. But then you see her, you flash to Mama's house at 4 years down the road, and she looks like Mama's not only fed her good, but she's getting the gray hair. She's getting the she's getting to be an old lady.
Yeah. Sure enough.
And that was, I guess, what really hit me. But I won't forget, because she used to, if you started petting her or whatnot, and you just put your hand back, stop petting her, should go grabbing that arm.
Yeah.
Get you to
trying to get you
put
keep
it back on.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And,
there's a lot of dogs do that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dogs do that.
And so
it's crazy, man. That how they just go just naturally, because that's not something you train a dog to do, but they just they just know, if you quit petting them, if they just come up to you and put their head on your leg or something, you'll just just naturally just go back to petting them. That's just how it was. But yeah, man, we was one of them people that had we had just a bunch of neighborhood dogs. I mean, it was just one of them people. Man.
We just had stuff.
I don't know if that's trash or not, but
hey, that's
just why we grew up.
Yeah,
we just had a lot of dogs around in the house.
Yeah.
Hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that though. But they kept the armadillos and the possums and the coons out of the yard. I promise you that.
Yeah.
Territorial. They was territorial about them.
I just realized, though, that's part of this whole, the cabin days that we ain't talked about. And it was when we was little, and we would walk from my house to the cabin and back.
Yeah.
And what it was like when the floods were real high and the river was real high.
Yeah.
And we were crossing, or I call it a river, is really a creek.
Yeah, it was a river to us at that age.
But it was a river to us.
At that age.
And so we were over here crossing you about to probably bring it up, the log that crossed, and we were like, shoot, this is the only way, and we had to literally cross a narrow log.
Yeah,
and
that creek was flowing too. We was like, we messed up right here, we're done.
Yep, the girls wasn't wanting to get on there. They were like, there's got to be another way, and they finally watched us get across, and they were like, crap, there's just no other way.
Yeah,
and so that's how they came across. But man, that was always a journey.
But we had a dang good 4-wheeler track though.
Oh yeah,
golly bum. From the cabin to your house, and it went under that bridge whenever it wasn't flooded. That was a good 4-wheeler track.
Well, it was a sand pit too.
Yeah, it was a bunch of sand down there that always accumulated and stayed around there. Man, that's something we always had. We always had some kind of a track or something to ride around on whatever we had at the time. Mm-hmm. We might not always had something at the time, but whatever we did have at the time, we had somewhere to ride it, and by God, we had a daggum track to put it on.
See, ain't it sad that kids these days have iPads? They grew up on iPads. We grew up on 4-wheelers.
Yeah, and we're the last, if you really think about it now, we're truly the last generation to not
rely on a screen.
Not rely on a screen. Like to not have a phone, or because they didn't come out with smartphones until we was gotta be. I mean, it 13 or something.
They wasn't people around where we were at that could afford them till 2011, 2013, and by then you were still you were big stuff. You had some money then.
But not just that, but see, I remember my mom. She didn't want me to have a smartphone. That was a luxury thing to have. Oh yeah. That, and she didn't want me to have a smartphone. Man, I remember my dad carrying a daggum. It was called. He was so proud of this phone. It was called the Rock.
Casio Rock.
Yeah, Casio Rock.
Man, throw that thing on the ground.
Yeah,
dude. You know that? Did you see your dad and Papa making that commercial for Core Wireless?
No, I never seen it. I don't know. I've never seen it.
There is never freaking way.
Really?
I've got to see if I can get him to pull that up. So which I don't even know where it's at, but I know I've seen it because that was back when they had them flip phones and they were just coming out with those the Casio Rock, like durable phone. But Core Wireless in town, which ended up getting to be it was really weird that in our small town, there was actually a wireless company started there and got traction, but ended up, of course, getting bought out by Verizon years later. But Owen's dad, our grandfather, was in a commercial for that, and the video was them coming out of a dump truck.
No kidding.
No, you remember the Mack dump trucks that?
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know how I never seen this.
You've not seen that?
I've never even heard of this happening.
No way.
That's crazy.
I'm being dead serious. Like, so that
was it because they was the first people to have the rock flip phone or something? Flip phone. Flip phone.
I don't know if it was just advertising and they Papa must have knew the Coors or your dad. You know, I call your dad Unc, but you know, I think it was one of those things where they just must have knew and was like, hey, you want to do a commercial? And so, like, I remember watching the video, and it's literally your dad getting out of the dump truck, and as soon as he's getting out, throwing the phone down in, like, gravel. And then you picking up the phone, they did a video close-up of the phone falling in the gravel and then picking it up,
man, that's
dusting
crazy.
it off, and then picking up the phone and talking to somebody.
Man.
And, like, that was the commercial.
Yeah, well, because I do remember, like, the rock phones, the rock flip phones, they was basing it off of how durable those phones was.
Yeah.
You know, how it could not be broke. It was a indestructible flip phone.
Yeah.
And that was the first phone that the I don't know, I guess producers of phones, I don't know. I don't even know who you could pin that on. But that was the sales pitch was right. You can't break this phone, you know. And Dad, he was proud of that phone too though. I remember him bragging about it. That gummy.
See, you know what's funny? That was my first phone. My first phone was a Casio Rock, but it was like the second generation. And the second generation was like a black and gray, which I was 11. This was 2011. And so that was my first phone. And I thought I was big stuff because, you know, this thing I could text, call, or whatnot, but I had like geography crap on it and stuff. Like I could look up the daggum weather on it and stuff, and I was like, this is hot friggin' stuff right here at 11 right here. And I'm sitting here looking at like a daggum compass. Man, like not everybody's phone had a compass on it and a freaking weather temperature or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so like
I mean that was all new. That was
Yeah.
just the hot thing to have at the time.
Yeah. And see now, like at that time, you know, iPhones had been out and everything. Like I think a couple of years. I think the iPhone came out 2007, if I remember right.
But I remember everybody having the iPod Shuffle and the stuff like that. You know that.
Dude.
You know your parents had
you
the
were
iPhones,
money if you had the
but
iPod.
the kids, they didn't have the iPhones. They had the iPod Shuffles, man. And you was hot crap if you had one of them.
Well, it wasn't just the shuffle. Because see, remember the shuffle was the little one.
Oh.
But iPod.
Okay.
If you had iPod and nothing after it, dude, you had you were getting it.
You was that guy.
You was that guy.
That guy.
You were like the can I go play games on your iPod guy.
Yeah. Daggum. What are you doing over there, Johnny?
I got Angry Birds. You heard of that?
I'm playing Temple Run. Yeah, I mean, what's that? I ain't got that on my flip phone. Come on, cuz. What are you talking about?
I got Snake over here.
I'm playing Snake. Yeah. God, man, that's funny. Dude. My grandmother. I remember my grandmother having Snake on her phone, man, and she let me play it, man. But oh gosh, man, what was we talking about over there at the cabin? We're getting sidetracked a little bit.
Man, we are all over the place, but
that's fine though.
Hey, that's what we're doing it for.
Yeah,
though, right?
Yeah, that's what we're doing it for, man.
That's the point.
Yeah,
man, we ain't even like touched on. We're touching on like the 9 to 11. Now I will say one of the ones I will never forget, and this was on the ending years of the cabin years, was. Whenever, I think it was Christmas time or something like that, a little bit after Christmas time. This was when...
I know you're not about to say it. Dude, I know you're not going to go there. There's no way you're about to go there.
My dad,
Don't
my
even
mom and
bring it
dad
up,
come
man.
in, and they said, we're having a baby. And so they were bringing in my youngest sister Lakin at the time, we didn't know this. That we knew that they were having a baby when we didn't know the gender. And so there's me and Owen thinking, like we're rooting for a boy or whatnot. and then they pretty much the way my dad announced was it's gonna be a girl or whatever like that. And well, as soon as he said that, I look at Owen and Owen's walking off. He's like, all right, it's over. And I was like, you're more over this than I am. And we were all thinking it was going to be a boy, and it ended up being a girl. And what the wildest part of this is we thought she was going to be a boy because she was wild in the freaking womb. She was beating the walls, And so you got her coming out of the womb, a girl. We're thinking, oh, she's gonna be a girl, and she to this day is she's a sports girl. She's not not your typical Barbie doll girl, which is really funny. This is how she just ended up.
Man, I can't go any further without saying this, man. All right. I was literally thinking, man, that you was about to bring up, not that that's not important.
Okay. Yeah.
Not that is not important at all, but my brain 110%.
Oh, no.
Whenever you said something about Christmas, dude, I completely went toward whenever we got the whole Rock Band set up on Xbox.
Oh.
And we was all going crazy over that because we had the drums and the mic and the guitars and everything for the Rock Band, dude.
That's what you thought.
I was completely going to there, man. Oh my gosh, I was like, oh man, I didn't even.
Man, listen, me and you in that house, we were putting big titties on Big Daddy V on WrestleMania is what we were doing.
Oh man,
that's what
WWE
we were
was
up
real
to.
in that house.
Man, at 9 years old, we got some mileage out of WrestleMania. Was that what it was called? Was WrestleMania?
It was SmackDown versus Raw.
Yeah,
it was SmackDown versus Raw.
SmackDown
the
versus
OG,
Raw, baby.
The OG, man.
Dude.
That was the game to have, man. God, because it was fake wrestling, but if you got the video game, dude, you was hitting people.
It was all real.
Serious.
It was all real. Rey Mysterio.
Oh, Rey Mysterio was insane at them years. That was his prime. He was coming off the top ropes before they even had a name for the top rope, man. I mean, it was crazy.
We're out here flexing Kane and freaking sitting on people with Big Daddy V and
Big Daddy V. You know what's crazy? He wasn't even a known wrestler. We come across him.
Yeah.
We just come across him. His ranking on that game was nothing.
Yeah.
But we just thought the name was so funny. We had to play as him. I mean,
I think where they really were smart and knowing how to entertain 9-year-olds on this game though was letting you customize.
Oh yeah,
you're a wrestler.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. Oh,
you could put Big Daddy V tits on a freaking Kane.
Yeah,
do the size of Kane and freaking give
come out there with that gun just. What is that, brother? You need a bra or something?
No joke.
Bro,
but give him the moves of Rey Mysterio. So he's going around and twisting around you like he's 5'6",
Man, that game that game right there, dude. I'm thinking about it, man. That game might have been what made,
Oh yeah.
LGBTQ.
So, I'm gonna tell you what. What's funny is You know the trope, the deal where people say that they would wake up in the middle of the night and hear George Lopez?
Oh, dude, that was me. I did that so many times.
Did we not do that
up
in the cabinet?
Dude,
I remember
Lowrider, dude. Lowrider was the song that played every single time, anytime, in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, you're asleep. It don't matter if the volume is set on 1. I don't know how DirecTV ever did it, but when George Lopez come on, somehow it made the TV go to 100 every single time, and it would wake you up. All my friends drove a low rider. I mean, it was. I mean, they was jumping around on the trampoline, man. You woke up, what is this? You know, God, I mean, that was it though, man. You'd be sleeping on the recliner, I'm sleeping on the couch. We wake up at the same time, look at each other like, I thought you turned the TV off, brother. What's going on? Yeah, we getting up early. Oh,
yeah. I don't know. Which, like I said, the cabin years were about 9 to 11 years for us. That was when your dad owned that cabin and had the pond. Now I do remember us going.
Those were very good years, very fond years.
That was big years for us.
It was very big years for us growing up.
Because I'll tell you what really stood out about that time. This kind of gets into the trucking trips.
Oh man, the trucking trips.
Let me tell you, this is where me and Owen came to be brothers. So let me start you out. You know, we're cousins, but that was quite a journey from beginning to end. I would say the beginning of that, I want to say the first one was when we went to Florida. And I remember going to Florida, I think it was just past Tallahassee, Florida was the first trip that we went. I think your dad was just kind of trying this out. He was like, man, if I just take these 9-year-old boys with me, what's this going, you know, what we going to do about this? We get down there, and we're honestly pretty dang bored on this first trip, but we get down there and there's like a bunch of Spanish moss on the tree or whatnot, and we had never seen it.
First time we ever laid our eyes on it.
Yeah, and so we're out there playing in it.
Yeah, he's unloading the trailer. Yeah, he looks over. We're in the Spanish moss tree.
We're making a daggone ghillie suit, dude. Yeah. We're in this thing.
Little did we know that Spanish moss is full of chiggers. Yeah. You couldn't, no warning or nothing. We're a couple boys from Alabama up here, never seen Spanish moss before. Yeah. We get down there, all we can think about is Call of Duty. Mm-hmm. That looks just like the daggum ghillie suit on Call of Duty. Yeah. By God, we're about to put it on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
was making our cloak.
Oh, yeah.
Was getting our cloak of chiggers.
Didn't nobody even think to look over and be like, hey, that's got chiggers in it. No. You talking about ruining the rest of a trip. You talking about ruining the rest of a trip. Golly, bum. I will never forget about that.
Should have jumped in a tub of alcohol after that.
Yeah.
Probably would have got maybe 30% of them off.
Golly, bum.
Dude. But man, that was great times. Cause see, I remember us. I don't think your dad had got the toilet yet. It was in there, but I remember him on the next trip, him getting a freaking one of these cans or whatever. He's not. He got it, but then he said, "Now listen, we're not going to use this to take a crap. This is only for if you really got to pee, and we ain't stopping."
Yeah.
so he laid it down like that. Well, we get about up to probably South Carolina, and I can't remember if it was me or you. I think it might have been me that started it. I can't remember. Me or you went back there, and it started out as a P, but it did not end up.
No.
We pitched a low, son.
Yeah.
And so after that, your dad, after a little bit, starts smelling something. He's like, hold on. He's like, hold on. What am I smelling? You better not be doing what I'm thinking, dude.
Yeah.
He looks back there.
Yeah.
We're crouched up. You know,
going down the interstate,
taking the Browns to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Freaking.
You ain't pulling over. You ain't gonna pull over on I-20 right there. Trying to daggone fix that toll. The bad thing is you gonna have to smell it until you can stop. That was the bad thing.
I think we got to about finally to a truck stop near that Pedro's whatever. It said Pedro's at the border at South Carolina, North Carolina, and I remember him going out there and going golly and like throwing it out in the woods or one out there next to the truck stop and crap. I think that might have been a rest area. I don't even think it was a truck stop.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
good times,
that was a big trip because that was the first time me and Owen had ever been to New York.
Yeah,
and I'll never forget your dad saying that was his third time to have ever been in New York City. But for us, a bunch of rednecks from Alabama, that was
a big deal.
That was a big deal. Like I say our parents. I know my parents had not been in New York by that point.
Yeah.
They had never been in their life. So that was in and of itself an experience. But from beginning to end, that one was quite a story because it starts out, we're going to Jack's. And I don't know if you remember this.
I remember.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember.
So here's how this starts out. We go to Jack's, and we're getting some breakfast. Man, we're gonna start this thing out right. His dad, getting us fueled up, I guess. But we get in there and we get our normal, biscuit and gravy. Well, then we go over there to get our drinks and start filling up, and we each, we're getting sweet tea or whatnot. Well, Owen is getting sweet tea while I'm getting sweet tea, but his is not sweet tea, it's unsweet tea. And so he drinks a little bit up and is like, oh, shoot, this is unsweet tea. And he's like, oh, shoot. And me and his dad wasn't looking, and so he chugs.
Yeah, I didn't know what wasting was. let's just go back to our younger years. You didn't waste nothing. It was still.
That's right.
It was still that time.
It's respectable.
It was that time. That time frame. You didn't waste nothing. Okay, right. You didn't waste nothing. I accidentally filled my cup up, a large cup of unsweet tea. Well. You just didn't waste it. You didn't waste nothing. If you got it, if you ordered it, you ate it all. That's how it was.
I've seen your daddy even give you a hard time about it in the past. Like that was how it was.
Yeah.
That's how.
So I wasn't about to pour it out. Now, I sat
you
there.
wasn't sissing out of it.
I wore it. I sat there and I drunk it all, chugged it, and then got sweet tea after.
Yep.
Didn't make it out to the truck, and I was puking my guts up.
Well, I tell you what started it too, because remember there's that hill that's right there. Because remember your dad had to park that 18-wheeler down
by the pool,
by the daggum city pool over there. So we had to walk down this hill and you can just kind of imagine your stomach just full of sweet tea, and you're jumping around like there. I mean, no sooner than we got in the truck, and there you were. Like throwing up sweet tea, and your dad was dying laughing because I was freaking out or whatnot. I didn't know what was going on, and but then after that, you was eating like it was fine, and I was like sitting there thinking,
got it out
dude, were you not just sick?
Yeah,
and
no.
I was like, we're just starting this trip to New York. You better not be sick on this trip.
Yeah, right. Because there wasn't. We was just in Aniana, but we still wasn't gonna turn around from the moment we left the parking lot. I mean, on the way to that trip, we was on it. There was no turning around after you left.
Yeah,
I don't care how sick you got. That was a rough trip for me. I ain't gonna lie.
That was I'm telling you, that was a journey beginning to end. Because I remember us getting up to about South Carolina, and that's when he was having to throw the crap out in the woods. Hey, and then
tell them about how when we got up to New York though.
Well, I was gonna get there, going and order, because we got to Virginia, and Virginia was where we tried to order sweet tea, but then it kind of got weird.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You started because I remember us being. I don't think it was. Something says Opal, Virginia, but that's real close to where DC is and all that area.
Okay, yeah.
And so we were up there, but we were at a diner that I think was in a truck stop, and we asked for sweet tea. And the waitress kind of smiled, and she's like, yeah, we got that.
Oh, she's been asked that a time or two.
And, yeah, you can kind of tell. Well, she goes and she brings out us a glass of tea, look like a daggum teapot, type of, like a coffee cup of tea. And it's actually cold tea, but, like, it was, like, you could tell she just tried to dump a bunch of Splenda in it.
Yeah.
It was not sweet tea, and so that was our rude awakening that, welcome to the North.
South. We're out of the South.
Welcome to the North, buddy.
Which, I mean, you know how it is, though. I mean, tell them about it. You go, if you want sweet tea, you ain't got to go to the daggum restaurant. You just go right down to your mama's.
That's right.
Tell them about it.
I mean, like, this kind of even goes back to when, I remember when I was 5 years old, and we had our cousins from Boston, Massachusetts come down. And unbelievably, as redneck as we sound, we have cousins in Boston, Massachusetts. And anyways, they would come down. And every time, I remember when I was 5, I was like, man, why are y'all making such a big deal about sweet tea? Like, you just go to your mama's and you just go get it. In my mind, didn't think that you just couldn't go get sweet tea. But obviously that was when I learned that they don't have sweet tea up north. And so it was just funny to think that, that there were places in the world that live without sweet tea. It was almost like just some places living out without water. It's like, how do you do it? You know?
It's just a southern thing, man. It's just a southern thing. Sure enough. But
no, so to go back up to, I remember when we got pulled into, we were getting to New York, and we were starting to see the tall buildings, and me and you, for some odd reason, were screaming and yelling at each other. We were like, like this. We're like just freaked out.
I mean, it's the tallest building that we'd ever seen.
It was, though.
And it's so hard
it blew our mind.
Like yeah, I mean.
It absolutely blew our mind.
Yeah, I mean, it was just the tallest thing. There's no tree in Blount County that could compare to a skyscraper in New York. There's no way.
There's not one. Yeah. So our biggest building in Blount County was Walmart.
Yeah. And that was wide. That wasn't even tall.
Our skyscraper might have been an old movie theater run down in the middle of downtown Aniana.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Other than maybe a water tower, but that was. It's funny to think now looking back that we had never even seen anything that big. And I remember taking video with my flip phone. That was right when I was actually 11, because that would have been when I had that flip phone, and took pictures of the Statue of Liberty and like actually some good close-ups of the skyscrapers right as we were looking at Manhattan from the Brooklyn side.
Yeah.
I didn't find out where I was until later, because you couldn't really see out of truck windows all that great.
Yeah.
And stuff. But looking back at those pictures is kind of funny, because you see this like real tiny speck, and then you realize that's the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
And it was because we were on the Verrazano Bridge going across. And seeing all this for the first time, and that was the first time we would look all the way around, and everywhere around us was a skyscraper. It was nothing but buildings all the way around us. And so that was, I think, just a cathartic experience in and of itself that was as to why it blew our mind, And then of course, do you want to tell the story of how when we got to the DHL and everything, and how your dad couldn't get us onto we went to JFK Airport.
Yeah. We can talk about that. Yeah. They
I don't know how much you remember of all that.
I don't remember just a whole lot, and a lot of things wasn't registering with me. Like.
Yeah, you were younger than me. I mean, you were still like a year younger than me then.
Yeah.
I do know that we got out there, And the JFK airport, your dad had to get on the runway to make this delivery.
Right,
he was delivering something that was just off the tarmac.
I do remember what it was though. It was a jet engine.
That's right.
It was a jet engine.
He kept telling us it was like a multi-million-dollar deal.
Which I mean, it probably was.
It was like $1 million just on the back of his flatbed.
Yeah.
But here we were in New York, and he pulled up to be let on to the fence, to be let on to the tarmac and everything, and they told him that us two boys couldn't be out there. We couldn't ride with him out there. And of course that had set right with your dad, and your dad was having fit and was like, these are my boys, like they're, I'm not just gonna leave them in New York City. I mean, this is ridiculous and all this kind of stuff. And finally he I guess worked something out where we sat at a DHL office.
Yeah.
And so we went to this DHL office, and as we were sitting there one night, you can imagine how bored we were getting, sitting in a waiting, like a lobby area for a freaking airport DHL. And so these like really Yankee women were behind the counter, and they were just in the office bored too, but they quickly learned they had an opportunity to talk to some kids that were not quite from New York.
Yeah, just not quite a little bit.
Not quite. The accent just wasn't New York.
Yeah,
we'll call it that.
Yeah, it wasn't quite up there.
But man, they got us talking, and I'll probably be honest with you, I was probably the blabbermouth that did most of the talking, but it was funny because they would get us going, and we would talk about, everything from four-wheelers to everything we did new growing up and stuff like that. By that
was
point,
making them laugh hard. I mean, I do remember that.
Man, they were doubled over.
Yeah,
every once in a while, you'd see them go like double over laughing, and then they would go in the back of the office, like way back up in there, and then bring somebody else out, and they would be like already smiling.
Yeah, it was like they
both smiling.
Yeah, they were showing us off to everybody that worked there. They was going back. Hey, y'all have got to see these two boys up here talk. Unreal. I mean, they was having a heyday with us.
Must have made their day. But we after a while, then your dad called and said, "Hey, you want something to drink?" I'm sitting here looking at something, and I was like, "Man, they got any sweet tea?" And we're like, he was like, "No, you ain't got no sweet tea." And we had to settle with a Sunny D. Which now we was all about some Sunny D back then.
Sunny D, man,
We was all about some Sunny D, but
that vitamin D in it, you know what I mean?
But about that time of day, we were sweet tea ready, and that wasn't New York. Nope. Never did realize I don't even think you could really get a biscuit up there. I think they only do like bagels.
Yeah, it was all kind of just fancy and stuff. I guess a bagel's fancy. I mean,
I don't know. It's just a regional thing. And
it's just what they did, Yeah,
I don't think I've ever. Now that I think about it, I don't think I've walked into McDonald's up there in New York and seeing if I could just go get a biscuit.
Yeah.
I don't guess you can. I don't know.
I have no idea either. I mean, but you'd think that a McDonald's menu would be the same everywhere.
Well, if you can't tell, our McDonald's all down here have as a standard a sausage biscuit, sausage egg and biscuit, and sweet tea.
Yeah. Well, that's the only way they'd be able to sell anything.
Down here. They ain't competing with the Jacks.
Yeah.
Which
if you don't wake up every morning and want a dadgum sausage biscuit, you ain't from the South.
Yeah.
Or a biscuit and gravy. If you don't wake up every morning and want a biscuit and gravy and a sweet tea, you ain't from the South.
You ain't
from it. Yeah.
So it's funny. We really do have our own Southern comfort zone that you don't realize you're in until you're out of it.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
And which is amazing. Now you're in your working years now and starting your career, and you're in trucking. So now you're reliving that fairly regularly.
Yeah.
And actually seeing.
Well, and a lot of things has changed between now, even between now and that trip we made up in New York, man. I can remember like there is so much stuff that's changed over the road.
Really?
Yeah, between just I mean, and that wasn't. I mean, I guess that would be a long time.
Mm-hmm.
What was that? 10 years, basically.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it was like 2011. It was like 2011.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of stuff has changed over the road, and I can't. Which I say I can't believe I'm doing what I'm doing, but I mean, I guess I really had no choice. I mean,
yeah,
it's kind of all I've ever known.
It's in your blood,
Yeah, I mean, shoot.
Like I'll say this too.
You're lucky you ain't doing it.
I know, right?
Really?
Well, you know what's funny though? This is funny, and I remember being in gifted classes, and they were asking us like, what did we want to do?
Yeah.
And they were expecting us to say something to do with like a college-related career or whatever and stuff. And at that point, I knew how much fun I had on that trip, and was like, I want to be a truck driver.
Yeah.
And they were like, what do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean want to be a truck driver?
A truck driver.
Yeah,
and
I said it. I want to be a truck driver.
Quite frankly, I would be happy as a truck driver.
Yeah.
You make money and get to see the world. And I was like, to me, there just wasn't, and to this day still is nothing wrong with it. In fact, I think it is an advantage. It is an angle and advantage and perspective on the world that to this day I still would be very open to. Now I will say this: it is very much a job. It is not a vacation. It has points when it just flat out sucks. And Owen would definitely be able to speak to more of that than I would. I didn't want to drain just too off topic with the childhood stuff, because one of the big parts of our childhood we didn't get to was even the camping.
Yeah, we ain't even got to cover that.
Dude, we've not even touched camping.
I mean,
you remember
the camping days? I wish I could go back to them days, man. You talking about?
They did that when we was
fun
real.
Times, man.
We were real little.
Yeah.
I mean, there's pictures of us like, on like they would put us in like their chairs and stuff like that. When we were babies.
Yeah, and it's something that brings families together. Even now, I mean.
Yeah.
Golly bum,
It's amazing. It seems like it's so lost with like our family. Yeah. It's our family that we knew did that.
Yeah, just don't.
They don't do it no
just
more.
Do not do it anymore.
And I don't know if it was a motivation thing or just things may have changed, size of the family. I don't know. I mean, at that point, we were, if you think about it, we were a much smaller family. We were the grandkids.
Yeah.
It was just us 3 or 4 or 5 of us, and that was it.
Yeah, I remember us daggone camping out there. Just didn't have nowhere to go. We'd go camping out by the pond.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember us getting sick off of drinking squeezies. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Was that even what it was called, or is that something we just called it?
Squeezies. I think it was squeeze. We may have been just calling them that, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
What I'm talking about, yeah.
Well, aren't they like popsicle something is what they're like called.
But I don't. Yeah, they're in plastic bottles, and you squeezed it, and it squirted. And
you're talking about those? Yeah.
I mean,
the Kool-Aid squeezies.
You squeezed it, it squirted. We might have cut that out.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, don't get a. This is rated PG-13 here, so, but no.
Oh man.
But no, we.
Everybody gonna take that the wrong way. They'll run with it, man. You gotta be careful this day, Tom. Squeezy. That was a real thing.
You said
Capri Sun didn't have nothing on a squeezy.
Dude, it had nothing. I mean, those were sugar bombs, is what those were.
Yeah. We drank so many of them, we'd get sick. We would get sick off of them.
We would live off of them. That was
yeah.
It's funny. It's funny. That's the kind of things these kids these days are not getting with like
little plastic twist off. I don't even know if you can find one of them.
You can. I can. So straight up, at 22 years old, just 2 years ago, I found them at Walmart.
Really?
And I was like, enough said. I picked me up some. Yeah, I bought them. I got me like 2 cases of them, kept them in the fridge, and I did that for a while. And like, I didn't care if anybody made fun of me or anything.
The Walmart up here? I haven't seen one, dude.
Ain't no way.
Man, I ain't seen one of them since I was like, God, probably
now
14.
They could have discontinued them here recent, but
Could've.
I do know that I for sure have had them not long ago.
What's the name of? What's the name on the brand?
It is Squeezy.
It is Squeezy.
It's Kool-Aid Squeezy.
Kool-Aid Squeezy.
By the brand Kool-Aid Squeezy. Hey. I'm being dead serious. Like, hey, like, and of course they don't last you long. Now that you're a grown adult, you have them things, and like you'll just like that might as well just be a gulp. I mean, that's all they are. But man, but you know what's funny? What got me off of them after a while is I started to realize I was getting headaches, and I was like, man, this is like.
It's got a lot of sugar in it.
It's got so much sugar in it that I was like, man, I can't do this for the long haul. But man, it was a fun ride.
Oh yeah,
fun blast from the past. But no, camping days were good. I remember our big thing with camping though is we would pull up to Guntersville Lake. We'd always get us something right on the water.
Oh, they know we pulled up too whenever we got there.
Oh yeah, we pulled up. We went to the same campground every year. We went. We ended up kind of even getting in the good with a lot of the people that like just basically lived there. You know, those people that would like they would be in the back, but they just lived there.
And I don't remember what campground it was. It was the one by the daggone water tower. It was
Riverside Campground, and you could see a lighthouse.
Yeah, not water tower. I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, lighthouse.
You could see a damn lighthouse, and man, that's where some memories were made. Cause
sure enough.
What would happen is we would pull up and our grandparents would basically take off the box and said, "Here you go, tear it off." And man, you talk about burning it up. I went all over that campground on bikes, and that was our summer.
Yeah,
right there. Some kids had summer vacations in the Bahamas, and we was running around on bikes and trying to ramp ditches.
Yeah,
and
we
Riverside
did.
Campground.
And we did. We ramped them ditches.
Dude, we found the ramps. That was our deal. We would see how fast we could go around the track, whatnot, dodging the golf carts going by, and freaking ramping that one ditch. You know what I'm talking about? There's like that one ditch. Nobody was over there. But it was like the kids hung out because we'd go over there, and sometimes there'd be another kid. And there was like, I remember this one kid that had the freaking skates that was like a twist skateboard or something.
Yeah,
I can't remember what that was called.
I don't remember what it was called either.
But I was like, dude,
it had
how do
that
you do
big
that?
culvert though in that ditch.
Yeah.
And if you was playing hide and go seek, you was guaranteed to find somebody
in that culvert.
Yeah. There was gonna be somebody hiding in that culvert every single time. If you was playing hide and go seek and you went to look. First place to go get in that culvert right there.
Campground hide and seek went hard.
Oh,
that was another level.
Yeah.
And if it was dark, bonus points.
I mean
that was the real deal.
Yeah.
You're not gonna top it. You had a whole campground.
You didn't have much of a childhood if you didn't grow up on a campground. I mean, I'll just go ahead and say that. I mean,
dude,
that's a big part of growing up. You know, growing up at a campground. At that, I mean that was, that'll make you who you are.
See, it was all the way around though, because there was the swimming, there was the fishing, there was the family, there was the fire.
Yeah, it brought families together, man. I wish people would actually, still be into that, because it was. I'm definitely going to do it with my family.
I have.
There's no way I can leave it out. There's no way I can leave it out.
I've purely seen the value in it myself, and I think that it's worth prioritizing. Even if it sounds risky to even say this, but even if it risks your job, you can always get another job, but you'll never get that time with your family.
Time is
again.
Man, you remember the daggum hot dogs we eat? The daggum pink Ziegler's.
Yeah, that was a catfishing hot dog.
That was a catfishing hot dog, and it was good over a campfire.
Yep.
All-purpose hot dog right there.
I was fixating.
Can't beat them.
And you never want to let any go to waste, because if you couldn't eat it, you go catfishing with it.
Yep, go catfishing with it.
And I mean, you was set. I mean, we was living a life.
Oh yeah, didn't even know it.
See, that's the thing. And like we didn't know any better. We just thought that was what every summer was like.
Yeah, and what every person did too.
Yeah,
you know.
So it was kind of all we knew, and it was amazing to even think that now here we are old enough we can just go drive to go. It's not even that far for us, but for us that was a trip.
Yeah, it was. It was all weekend thing. You know, most times.
I do remember one or two big camping trips we had, and they were full on like week long camping trips. And those were the absolute best. Like week long camping trips and stuff were. That was when we went as like a family, and everybody was there, and we were doing everything from sea-doos to sliding the slide and swimming at the pier.
Yep.
You know, we were doing everything.
Getting pulled on an inner tube.
Dude,
don't even
get me started.
At a young age, man.
Man.
We was lucky though to have that kind of stuff. We're very fortunate. And the thing is about it wasn't brand new stuff, and it wasn't nice things.
No, I mean it was.
But it was a jet ski, sea-doo, whatever. You know, it had rips in the seats, but it ran. You know, you could get it crunk up, and, you know, we was rednecks, and we was going to get it crunk up.
I was fixed to say, that's going to be the theme you'll notice of this podcast is, you know, as fellow Southern citizens, we may not always be able to get the brand new yacht.
Don't need it.
We don't need it.
Nope.
We are absolutely happy with the absolute hell of a deal that we got on a freaking Sea-Doo for $500 and fixed up.
Yeah, that's it.
That's just kind of all that there is to it.
Yep. That's it.
So
don't need a yacht when you can get a pontoon for free. As long as it'll float. By God, we will find a motor to put on the back of it. So,
I mean, hey, it's all about your creativity with this kind of stuff. That's where it gets interesting.
Yeah,
people around here are creative, and I don't think the world really even appreciates or knows that all the time. Definitely, there's the redneck engineering that you hear of, and it's kind of made fun of and stuff like that. But we're sitting in a city right now that put man on the moon and built the rockets that sent us to space and absolutely collapsed the space race and put the USA on the map for that. We may be in Alabama, but we've got some creative engineers.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Behind every big accomplishment, there's a redneck smiling somewhere.
Hey, that's right.
I don't know if that's true or not, but it sounds good.
It sounds good. And we're gonna roll with it. We're gonna roll with it.
Yeah, that's it. Well, heck, we've hit an hour, so we're gonna cut this thing off, and yeah, it was pretty good first podcast, I guess. We got a lot talked about, so
I think we did good.
Yeah, we're gonna see how this goes. Mm-hmm.
Shoot, yeah.